What's up, everybody? Today's video is every Premier League team explained in 8 minutes. My name is Greg Lewis. I am an American living abroad in Spain, trying to learn this beautiful game of football, one reaction at a time with your help. We're on our way to 500 subscribers, so feel free to subscribe so you can say you were here in the beginning, because that's where we are. All right, so let's take a look here. Today's video, I already said that. Lewis, we're not related. All right. Lewis GLM, and I will include a link in the description so you can go and support him and show him some love. All right, let's go ahead and see what we can see.
Team to support in the Premier League, and I would know because I'm an Arsenal fan. They bottled the past 2 Premier League titles and are the biggest club to never win the Champions League. But Arsenal fans will tell you it's okay because they went a whole season unbeaten once.
Well, okay. I mean, that's not, I understand. If my team did that, I guess.
Star player is Bukayo Saka, but unfortunately he's injured right now. And the rest of the team are a bunch of undiscovered parasitic donkeys, so it doesn't look like they'll be winning any trophies again this season. The only way they know how to score goals is from corners, making them one of the most painfully boring teams to watch right now. But they're still the biggest club in London, with 13 league titles and 14 FA Cups, more than any other team. Aston Villa came out of almost nowhere to qualify for the Champions League this season, where they managed to than any other team. Aston Villa came out of almost nowhere to qualify for the Champions League this season, where they managed to beat Bayern Munich. They have an experienced manager and some exciting players, making them a decent team. John Duran seems to score every time he comes off the bench, and Ollie Watkins has established himself as a top quality Premier League striker for a few years now. Their star player has been Morgan Rogers though. That guy has been on absolute fire this season. Unlike Arsenal, they actually have won the Champions League, and with 7 league titles and 7 FA Cups, they're actually a pretty big club. But they're from Birmingham, so I wouldn't trust anyone associated to that football.
I don't condone any of this language. That's just his opinion.
Bournemouth are a small club on the south coast, somehow doing very well this season. They've beaten Arsenal, Manchester City, Tottenham and Manchester United already this season, and are actually fighting to qualify for Europe. Of course they're not going to get it though, because it's
Wait, how old is this video? Okay, 3 months. So is everything that he's saying right now, is that current? Like these players, you know, the rankings that they have and everything? I just would like to know.
Bournemouth. Imagine Bournemouth in Europe. Also, the streets will never forget that Callum Wilson, Josh King duo back in the day. Solanke was great as well for them last season, scoring 19 Premier League goals, but he's at Tottenham now, meaning their star player is Antoine Semenyo, who has 6 goals and 2 assists so far this season. And the only trophy they've won in their history was the Championship in 2015, when they first got promoted under Eddie Howe. They're actually tiny, man. Brentford are another tiny club doing well. They sold their star player Ivan Toney in the summer, but they're not missing him, as both Johan Wissa and Brian Burma are doing great this season. Also, these guys are incredible at home, but absolutely diabolical away. It's crazy. Also, these guys are...
See, their home record, I mean, wow, that's pretty good. Only lost twice, 1 draw. That's pretty good.
Incredible at home, but absolutely diabolical away.
That has to be frustrating. But at least you get to see them when they're at home. So, you know, although you may follow them when they go on the road, so.
It's crazy. Like Bournemouth, they've never won a trophy, and they'll be hoping they can keep their star player in Burma, because if he goes, they could be going down next season. Brighton are another small club on the south coast over...
Wait, if he goes, this is probably a super general question, but maybe someone can explain, like how, do they have contracts? I mean, I don't even know how things work here. You know, in America, they have contracts, and depending on the sport, they can or can't be let out of those contracts, or they can become free agents. So he said if he comes back next year. So how does that work? There's potential that he could be gone next year?
Burma, because if he goes, they could be going down next season. Brighton are another small club on the south coast overachieving. They've been in the Premier League for a few years now, and even played in the Europa League last season. They're also the reason why Messi won the World Cup, as Mope injured Leno, giving Emi Martinez the chance to make a name for himself. These guys just signed random players from everywhere, and have sold on good players such as Caicedo, McAllister, White, Trossard and Cucurella.
They sign random players from anywhere. So does that mean that these players are like has-beens on the team they were on? I know in America for football, American football, the Raiders used to be that way, where everybody who was like not wanted ended up going there. So is that the same thing with Brighton? I wonder.
well-run club, I must say. Their star player is João Pedro, and they'll be hoping they can hold on to him for a few seasons. But despite having had a few decent players, they still haven't been able to win a major trophy in their history. Chelsea are the blue billion-pound bozo bottle jobs. They used to be absolute nobodies before they were bought by a Russian billionaire in 2003, who won them 5 Premier League titles and 2 Champions Leagues.
Oh, that's interesting. So then I'm assuming that he won this championship because of the money. So did he buy a championship? You know what I mean? Like, that's interesting.
But after the Ukraine...
Let me back this up a little bit so you can
a Russian
hear.
Billionaire in 2003, who won them 5 Premier League titles and 2 Champions Leagues. But after the Ukraine war, he had to sell to Todd Boehly, this stupid American who spent £1 billion on a bunch of random players. They finished 12th and then 6th, but they're not as bad anymore. But realistically...
Did he say American? Is that right? Did I hear that right? So he was an American. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
They're carried by Cole Palmer, who is decent, but not better than Saka. Also, being Chelsea manager must be the worst job in the world, because I don't think I've ever seen a Chelsea manager last 3 seasons. They're always getting sacked. Crystal Palace have been in the Premier League for over 10 years now, and every single year they do the same thing. They finish anywhere from 10th to 15th, between 40 and 49 points, but somehow manage to reach a title challenging team every year. They were carried by Zaha for 9 years before he...
That's interesting. So I wonder what, I don't know, maybe it's just a culture there. But I mean, in the end, how you do during the season, I mean, it could be irrelevant if you can make it to the championship.
Joined Galatasaray, and now their star player is Eberechi Eze. But Mateta has also shown himself to be a pretty decent striker in the past year. Palace are another team without a major trophy, but they came close in the FA Cup in both 1990 and 2016.
Hey, go ahead.
Losing out both times in the finals to Manchester United. Everton has to be emphatically the most useless team in the Premier League. These guys always somehow manage to find a way to escape relegation, despite being a calamitous disaster of a football team. I am absolutely begging they go down and we can finally get rid of them. And then they'll be playing the Championship with their new £800 million stadium. And
well, I do know what relegation is, because I've been learning. So, but he said that somehow they managed to avoid it, even though they're so bad. Are they really that bad? That's bad.
Go down and we can finally get rid of them. And then they'll be playing the Championship with their new £800 million stadium. And Jai can stay in the Premier League though, he's good. Everton actually have 9 league titles, but haven't won a trophy since 1995. And let's be honest, I'll be surprised if they manage to win another trophy before 2095. Fulham got promoted back in 2022 and have been good ever since. They used to get mocked for being a yo-yo club, but they've established themselves as a decent Premier League team now. And they're pretty much Arsenal's reserve team, with the likes of Leno, Smith Rowe, Iwobi and Nelson at the club. Their star player has to be Anthony Robinson though, who is one of the best fullbacks in the Premier League.
Fullbacks. Okay. This is something I don't know. So feel free to share. I know there's a defender. There's a striker. Right? There's a goalie. Obviously. I don't know. Fullback? Okay. Yeah. In American football, fullback is well, they don't really have him anymore. I don't really think. It used to be the person who was like the lead blocker in the backfield with the running back. So I don't even know if you even know what all of that means. But anyway, what's a fullback? I don't know.
Also haven't won a trophy before, but they managed to get to the Europa League final in 2010, beating Juventus on their way there and just losing out to Atletico Madrid. I have absolutely no idea what Ipswich are doing in the Premier League. They managed to get back-to-back promotions from League One, and they're now here apparently. They have some good young players such as Omari Hutchinson and Leon Delap, but realistically they're going straight back down. However, they still managed to beat Tottenham and Chelsea. They have actually won the league before, back in 1962, as well as the FA Cup in 1978 and the Europa League in 1981. So they're not just complete nobodies. Leicester are another terrible football team, but they used to actually be good.
Man, I mean, who's good? It seems like he doesn't like anybody. Who's good? So, okay, maybe he'll get to that.
Back in 2016, they won the Premier League in the biggest shock in football history. They had the likes of Danny Drinkwater and Marco Brighton in the starting 11. But they also had N'Golo Kante and Riyad Mahrez, who went on to have great careers. Jamie Vardy stuck around and cemented himself as a Premier League legend, and also helped Leicester to win the FA Cup back in 2021. Liverpool are the most overrated club in Premier League history. They have 1 Premier League title, the same as Leicester. However, that's all going to change this season, as they're currently top of the league, meaning they're going to equal Manchester United's 20 league titles, because football existed before 1992, you know. And they have won more Champions League titles than any other other English team, with 6 to their name. Their players absolutely do not rate them though. Salah, Trent and Van Dijk are all running down their contracts to leave on a free this summer, and their manager is literally bald. So can you blame them? Klopp left last season because he was running out of energy, and I would too if I had to hear that accent for 9 years straight.
I'm being serious. I'm being serious.
Manchester City are another
Okay, I mean, this guy's really not holding back, is he? So, well, I mean, it's fine. It's his video.
team with a bald manager, and this guy is a complete socially inept fraud. I would not let this man within the vicinity of my children. He's like the perfect movie villain. They currently have 115 charges to their name, but this guy...
Wait, what?
Vicinity of my children. He's like the perfect movie villain. They currently have one...
City's 115 charges. Face relegation if FFP breaches proved. Rivals won decision before. What in the hell? What does this mean? 115 charges? Like criminal charges? I'm confused. Somebody help me with that one? Wow. That's crazy.
115 charges to their name, but this guy acts as if they're the victims. They've won 6 of the last 7 Premier League titles and won the...
I mean, look at that hair. I could see that.
Charges to their name, but this guy acts as if they're the victims. They've won 6 of the last 7 Premier League titles and won the treble in 2023, but none of them count whatsoever because they literally cheated to win them, and they've gotten what was coming to them as they've completely fallen off ever since Haaland said this. But they did give us the greatest moment in Premier League history, so fair enough. Manchester United, the biggest...
So I'm confused. Are they like the you know, the evil empire, kind of the sworn enemy that every team loves to hate? Sounds like it. That's interesting. I'm learning.
But they did give us the greatest moment in Premier League history, so fair enough. Manchester United, the biggest bunch of diabolical bozos in the Premier League. They have won the most Premier League titles and are the biggest club, but they currently sit in 13th. They've had by far the biggest fall off in the Premier League and employ the most preposterous selection of players known to mankind. Anthony isn't just the worst player I've seen, but might be the worst thing I've seen in my life, period. Wow. Bruno Fernandes is the most pathetic excuse for a captain in history. How Maguire and Johnny Evans still play for them is simply bizarre. Onana possesses the intellect of an uncivilized, sophisticated animal. Joshua Zirkzee belongs on Weight Watchers, not a Premier League football pitch. And Marcus Rashford needs to stay away from the Snow Bunnies because they have demolished his confidence indefinitely. Newcastle were bad for a very long time. They were basically what Everton are now until they were bought by the Saudis in 2021. And then like magic, they became good and qualified.
That's interesting. There goes another team. Money. So I guess what I'm starting to see is that money equates to success. That's interesting. In America, I am a Dodgers fan, and they are one of the top, I believe, they might be the second richest organization behind the Yankees. And that's been the accusation for them this year. And in the past probably 3 or 4 years is that they just buy championships. So I'm wondering, obviously that's a thing here. So feel free to share.
For the Champions League in 2023, but they still haven't managed to win any trophy since 1955. With 4 league titles and 6 FA Cups to their name, they have a respectable trophy cabinet, but they haven't added to it in a long time. I don't think I've ever been more jealous of a player than I am Alexander Isak. Please come to Arsenal, I'm on my flipping knees. I have absolutely no idea where to start with Nottingham Forest. These guys were nobodies and then won the league in 1978 before winning back-to-back Champions Leagues and then going back to be nobodies again. They finally got promoted again in 2022 and just about escaped relegation 2 years in a row. It looked like this year might be the year they finally go down, but instead they're currently 3rd in the league with a failed Tottenham manager. It makes absolutely no sense, but neither did it when Leicester won the league in 2016. And with Chris Wood on 13 league goals already, who knows what could happen? Southampton are by far the worst team in the league. In fact, they are the worst team in Premier League history after 21 games. And if they fail to get more than 4 points, they will break the record for the least points in a team in Premier League history after 20.
Let's see that again. Let me see. After 20 games, Southampton, the worst team in Premier League history. I'm sorry, Southampton. I'm sorry.
21 games. And if they fail to get more than 4 points, they will break the record for the least points in a Premier League season. I didn't think it could get much worse in 2023, but it has. They also lost 9-0 once in 2019, and then again in 2021, which is the joint biggest defeat in Premier League history. They really don't deserve a star player, but if I had to say one, I'd say Carl Walker-Peters. You wouldn't believe it, but they actually used to be good. They beat Inter in the Europa League back in 2015, and had the likes of Mane, Van Dijk, Tadic, and even Gareth Bale at one point. Tottenham are the most disgusting, terrible, treacherous, catastrophic monstrosity of a football club.
Bruh, I mean, I just think it's so funny that he just like does not like anybody. Everybody can't be horrible. Okay.
They are the definition of just because you didn't give up doesn't mean you're gonna make it. Because these guys have been trying to win a trophy for years and miserably fail every time. They haven't won the league since 1961. That's before the flipping moon landed. They let Kane and Son waste the primes of their footballing career playing in the Conference League. The only trophy they've won in the 21st century is the Carling Cup in 2008. The same year they finished 11th in the Premier League.
What? Let me see here. Okay. Oh, sorry.
The only trophy they've won in the 21st century is the Carling Cup in 2008. The same year they finished 11th in the Premier League. And I guarantee you they aren't winning a trophy this season with that fat Aussie manager they've got who puts the entire team on the halfway line. Currently they're in the bottom half despite supposedly being part of the Big Six. I guess that's just who they are, mate. And no, they don't have any star player. They're all just bad. Well, I guess Kulusevski is okay.
He said the Big Six. I mean, what is the Big Six? I might have to look that up. That could be a good video. Does anybody know what the Big Six is? Well, I'm sure you do. I mean, I can look it up, but then hello, I'm here because you can help me.
West Ham are kind of just there. They had a few good seasons a couple years ago, finishing 6th and 7th, and even won the Conference League. But now they're just a team with some good players such as Paqueta, Kudus and Bowen, but doing absolutely nothing. And they get shamefully smashed by every good team they face. I would be embarrassed to call myself a West Ham fan. Aside from that, they have 3 FA Cups, but they've never won the league. Wolves are another team who are just there. They also used to be good, finishing 7th in their first 2 seasons back with exciting players such as Jota, Jimenez and Neves. But after Raul Jimenez nearly got decapitated against Arsenal, they completely fell off and have never been the same since. Now they're relegation contenders, and Mateus Cunha needs to leave that dead team as soon as possible. Wolves have won the league before, winning 3 league titles back in the 1950s, as well as 4 FA Cups and 2 League Cups. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed.
All right. Okay. Well, I mean, at least he kind of sort of bashed his own team, Arsenal. But man, he really had it out for everybody else. So who's your team on here? I'd be curious to know. And how long you liked them, why you like them, all of those good things. But look, let's take a look at some of the comments here because sometimes those are pretty hilarious. So let's see here. So what we got here? Alternative title. Every Premier League explained in 8 minutes by an Arsenal fan. I know. It was pretty obvious that he just didn't like anybody. At least he kind of halfway, didn't like his team. But don't get me wrong, Mr. Lewis. I'm not bashing you. I appreciate you allowing us to take a look at this video here. All right, man, imagine telling teams fearing relegation that Arsenal fans have the hardest time out of everyone. All right, let me see here. Bro called Cole Palmer decent. Might need to look up Cole Palmer. I wonder who that is. I'm going to have to start keeping notes on these videos because there's a lot of stuff that just pops up. Okay, bro is hard hating Tottenham. I think that's how you say that. All right, cool. Well, this is a good video. So, feel free to share. If there's anything out there that any thoughts you have or anything like that, please do share. And of course, like, subscribe, share, all that fun YouTube stuff. Appreciate you stopping by. We'll see you on the next video. Peace.